Hi Flosstube, my name's Mel and this is my channel Patchy Pony Stitcher, where it's all about cross stitching and what I've been doing during the last month since I've seen you last. Today is the 23rd of August and I've got lots of goodies to show you today. I've got some FFOs, a finish, lots of whips, and of course what I got up to over the weekend at the Daisy Chain Stitchery Retreat. So buckle in and let's get started. So it's been a busy month. I've had lots and lots of time for stitching, being that we're at the end of winter heading into spring, but lots of time and lots of progress, which I'm really happy about. So I'm going to start with my FFOs. I've got 3 in person to show you, and I'll have to put a video in because that's already since been gifted. The first one I want to show you is my Mill Hill kit, my Mill Hill chart gnome holding Santa, and he is fully finished and already now in an ornament. If you haven't done one of these Mill Hills, they are a great way to do some introductory to beading. I just love the beading part. So he's done on a 14 count perforated paper, which is 3 threads over 1. Everything comes in these kits for you, so you don't actually need to purchase anything. So you do all the stitching, then the back stitching and the beading. And then he's got some adhesive felt on the back and all cut out with a hanger. Here's my 4th Mill Hill kit that I've done. So I would like to do one every year. I have to hold myself back from doing more because they are a nice easy stitch. And I generally do these when I'm stitching with people because they're easy to hold. You don't need a light, you don't need a clamp or anything to hold your work. So it is a good easy stitch to do when you're in company. The second FFO I've got is, I showed you last time my finish of this, and this is Corner and Curves by Rose Hill Manor, but I abandoned the project fairly soon in because I didn't like the fabric. And I can't throw away a little bit of stitching, so I have to finish it into something. So I'd only sort of done about that much, decided it wasn't for me, wasn't really happy with the fabric that I was stitching on. So I added an M in there to make it into a square, and then just made a little pillow for a dough bowl in springtime, filled it, backing fabric. I used the cut method in the back of the pillow, and then I've just I've stitched up the slit, and then I've just put a bit of rick-rack over the back with a bit of just craft glue that's not even stitched down to pop in my dough bowl. So that's Corner and Curves by Rosewood Manor, and that's in a Silks For You variegated floss, which is really, really pretty, but I just felt like it was going to be too busy once it was yay big. So that one got abandoned and the chart passed on. Another project that was actually abandoned midway through, but again, I completely finished this one. So I showed you again this one. This is Die Acorn from Joko Trebedene, which is a stitcher from the Netherlands. And it was a mandala, but it had another 3 rings. I quickly worked out, I stitched it on fabric that was too small, but I quickly worked out that I don't like mandalas. I don't like doing repeat of the same motif and design. It just, I really struggled to enjoy it once I'd done the first section. So this is done in variegated threads from Victoria. Oh, I can't remember. If you need to know, let me know. So I mounted this one, being circular, I mounted this in a hoop, then I laced it, and then I've just put a bit of scrapbooking cardstock on the back just to give it a nice finish if it happens to come off the wall. Well, this will be an autumn piece that comes out, so it may just get lent up in something. It won't necessarily get hung, but I was quite happy with how the cardstock just finished that off nice and tidily. I'm going to pop a video in here of the small that's already been gifted. This is the Lizzie Kate Merry String which I have then turned into a drum. Now I did this for the Smalls Exchange at the Daisy Chain Stitchery Retreat on the weekend just past. So I turned it into a drum by adding some fabric and then filled it and then just put some trim around the edges just so you couldn't see the stitching of the edging going on. So I was happy with that. It did get a little squished while traveling, but what do you do? I tried to reshape it. So they're my 4 fully finished objects. So I was quite happy to get some of those done. I've still got quite a few that I need to get finished, fully finished, that are sitting in my craft room waiting to be turned into something beautiful. And this will be adding to this pile. This is the stitchy, this is the spring freebie by Wilara Snaps. And I have completed as much as I'm going to. The chart itself is just 3 bunnies, and then there's another chart that is just 3 carrots. So I have then turned it into a bit of a random combination of bunnies, and I like my drums. So this will then become a drum for Easter time to sit on my Easter display. This fabric is by Fancy Fabrics, and it's I think it's called Easter Egg Speckle or something like that, from a Sassy Pouch that I got some time ago. So it was a good Easter egg type of fabric to use up. I love the little heart on their bottoms, it's so cute. And the variegation of that weeks is just spot on. I was really happy with that. So probably won't be next video, but before Easter, let's say, that will be turned into a drum because I would like to get that out. It's rather cute. Okay, so the FFOs are put away. I've dragged out the whips. Now I actually stitch on a lot of whips during my month because I'm a challenge stitcher. I've got 2 groups that I like to do challenges for, and that just keeps me interested and motivated to be touching different whips. The challenges are only small. They're only 300 stitches per challenge. So as you can imagine, sometimes the challenges don't fit into one whip, so I've got to sort of touch quite a few. Now, so because I have touched quite a few over the month, I'm not going to show you 300 stitches on 1 or 2 for those that are new. So I have had some new subscribers, so thank you. So if you've been here before and I'm re-explaining this, I've had a little bit of a spike there. So so 5, I'm only going to show you the 5 that I've touched the most, and then I will just keep those other ones in my rotation until they're sort of a decent amount to show you. Now the one that I've done a lot on, which is my Prairie Romance, my full coverage, I'll pop a picture in here for you of the chart. This is what it will look like when it's finished. However, I am so close to a finish that I'm not going to spoil the surprise of the finished project, and I will hopefully get that done during now and my next update, but I am so close. So I did over 2,500 stitches this month on that project, and I am busting to get it off my scroll frame and just put something new on there, because this one's been on my scroll frame for 3 years, and I have it sitting out in the open, and it's like it's on display already but partially finished. So it'll be nice to have a switcheroo and have something different there. Now the next project that I've done the most work on is my Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery, which is this one. I would say this is shown quite a bit. This is quite a well-known chart. So this is where I was up to before, well, last time you saw it, and I'm going to show you this out of the frame. So excuse me disappearing, and oh golly, it's so big. So that is what you've seen before, and this is what I have been working on down the bottom. So nearly at the bottom corner there, working on that big red flower at the moment. I'll just bring that in a bit for you. Now this is being stitched on a 32 white white linen. It's just from Sew It All Australia. It's not a brand name one. I don't think it's Zweigart. And it's a nice soft linen, and I really enjoy stitching on it, but it will be a large piece, and framing it is going to be a feat. But I am looking forward to having that one up on my wall. And I really enjoy touching this one because each little motif, I can, like, usually one motif I'll complete a motif in a challenge and probably start on another one. So usually I get between 1.5 to 2 motifs finished per challenge, and that's really satisfying, seeing like it's a little finish. So it's lots of fun. I really enjoy Consider the Lilies. The next one, or the next three, no, the next one I'm going to show you is Oh Joyous Day, which is by Blackbird Design. If I can find the cover sheet. So this is Oh Joyous Day. My first blackbird. I hadn't done a blackbird prior to this, so I do love blackbirds now. I didn't think I would, but after starting this, oh, where's my, there it is. This is where I was up to, it's a bit concerning, isn't it, when you go into your project bag and the actual piece of linen on and your stitching's not in there, but everything else is. So this is where I was up to before, and this is where I'm up to now. And I'm stitching this on a 32 count Vintage Country Mocha by, oh, I don't actually know who this, the printed one where it's plain on the back. And I really like this, this fabric. It's really nice to stitch on. So this got quite a lot of work done at retreat. I completed the alphabet, the two line, the zigzag, the line, and I also completed the basket there. So I'm really enjoying this one, and I've since bought more blackbirds since beginning this particular project. And I only, because I hadn't done a blackbird before, when I kitted this up, I used the fancy floss that I had already in my stash and just substituted the rest for the DMCs that I had. In hindsight, I probably would have been a bit more selective and chosen more of the weeks where, like, for example, where the house was and so forth. But that's part of the learning and your journey with cross stitch, isn't it? By doing these things and then learning from each stitch. The next one I'm going to show you is a new start, because I think I needed to stitch a certain amount of stitches in just green, and I didn't have a lot of anything that I didn't have to jump around. So I started this one for Bluebirds of Happiness for the green down here, and then I think I had another challenge where I had to stitch on something with words and then stitch on something with trees, and this is where I'm up to. So new start, you haven't seen this before, I don't think. And I'm enjoying that as well. So I picked up some threads from the retreat to start the tree in. They didn't have the chenille that it needed, so I substituted for something else, which was fine. This is a new little needle minder that I also picked, this one here, that I picked up from the retreat from Paddock Lane Designs, or from Jenny. I'm not sure if her business is different. But really happy with that. This is again on a 32 count, actually this might be 36 count linen that I hand dyed myself when I was playing around, and it just happened to be, it was already in my stash. I didn't just dye it for this one, but it was a lovely pink colour that was meant to be. So I've got quite a large piece. I haven't cut it off. I don't know why I don't cut them off once I get started, but oh well. So that is Bluebirds of Happiness. It's got quite a lot of colours in it, actually. Okay. The next one is also a new start, and this one I had to start, I chose to start this one because I needed just grey stitches. And this is a Madame Chantilly Celebrating Christmas. I really like this one. So again, you haven't seen this before, and it's only a minimal start, and that's as far as I have gotten. And this is, you can't see the, oh, maybe you can see the sparkle. This is fabric was by Sew It All Australia, and it's an opalescent, but it's as though the sparkle's only on one side. So it's as though it's got a, dare I say it, glitter, sort of, oh, there you can see it, a glitter on the surface, but it doesn't tend to come off on my hands or on my threads or anything. So only a minimal start there. So I've got lots to go, but this will be a good challenge stitch because there's so many different things in that one that it will be good for fulfilling those prompts. And the final one that I'm going to show you is also a new start that I only started yesterday because I needed a design with a rabbit in it and I didn't have anything left with rabbits. So this is the full, gosh, look at me shake. This is the design once it's finished, and it's called Tulips with Bunny Snowflake Diaries. And I'm stitching this on a piece of even weave that I got in the swag bag from the last daisy chain, and I think it came from Paddock Layton Designs, and it's a lovely blue, and I've got threads everywhere. And that's what I've done for the challenge for stitch on something with a rabbit, and he's quite cute. Now, because this is only a small, I have a big bag of threads, you know, leftover kits, bits and pieces, unknown, and I call it my, this is a stash dive. I'm not even looking at what is called for other than brown, dark pink, light pink, and I just use up my odds and sods for these littler projects because it's, I can't just bring myself to throw the last bits out. So for example, these are just greens that are left over from Mill Hill kits, and I just keep all the greens together and then I just choose the most suitable green, and then I've got the same, like a card with all my reds on it, all my yellows, so I can just pick and choose bits and pieces. And that's what I did too with the the Mary string that I showed you earlier. It was just a stash dive. So like here's all the browns that I've got left over. So I just call it stash diving for those littler projects rather than breaking into bigger skeins of DMC or trying to use or breaking into fancy floss when it's only such a small project. So that is the whips that I've been working on, and I will continue, as I said, I will continue to work on different ones depending on what the challenges throw at me, but you will see Prairie Romance finished next time we meet up, because if anything that the challenge I can fit into that, it's getting done because it's so close. It's like literally 2 inches left, which is still a full page, but it's creeping down, so I can't wait to get that done. So at the stitching retreat, I did also do another craft other than just stitching, because I had some quilting, I'll call them experts because I had no idea what I was doing. So I took along my EPP to get some help and advice from my table mates, because they got me into EPP last year. They were talking about it, and Jess had her EPP with her, so I had a little sneak peek and I'm like, oh, I'd like to try that. So as soon as I got home back to Hobart, I went out and bought some fabric and some paper piecing and got started. Loved it. I love doing all the hexies, the cutting out, and then it got to putting the hexies together. And I didn't watch any videos, I just sort of did what I did, and I wasn't happy with it because I'll show you. You can see the white stitches, and I'm like, no, don't like it. So it sat around for 10 months then, and then so I thought, no, I'll take it back to the retreat and get some help from the girls. And of course they were a wealth of knowledge. Picked it up and I was off and away. So I'd only done these 3 when I went to the retreat. So I did another 3 rows for my table runner on my EPP, and you can't even see the stitching now because I'm using the proper floss, which makes DMC isn't what you're supposed to use for EPP, but I am going to be loving that this summer because I really discovered that without a pattern, having to look up, you can just keep on going. So I did as much as I could at the retreat with that one before I ran out of hexies that I'd bought, because I just grabbed a handful and popped those in. So that is another project that you may see a bit of updates on. So at the retreat, I did a little spending like we do when you go to these things. But my favorite purchase was a custom order. So I'm going to pop in a photo here of an item that I found that was secondhand, sort of like garage thrift shop type of setup. Couldn't help, I just loved the stitching on it. So I purchased that without even asking Taryn whether she'd do it, but I thought I'll find something to do with it otherwise. And then I messaged Taryn from Teaser Handmade Designs. She does project bags here in Australia. I'll link her below. And said, can I send this to you and you do something for me, make a project bag out of it, because I just thought it was really cute. And it was like free reign, it's not sentimental, it cost me $5. Cut it up. So this is the result. And this is going to be great for my Consider the Lilies, because at the moment that's in a pillowcase because I didn't have a bag big enough to fit my frame. But it's just so cute, the umbrellas and the flowers. I just love the stitching that someone's done on this this piece of linen that was used for a tablecloth, and then on the back they were the 4 corners. And it's nice and heavy, it's durable, it's got just the lovely aqua inside as well. One of my favourite colours, but I'm just so wrapped. So thank you, Taryn. It was a bit of a headache for her because it was trying to make the most of the stitching that was within the tablecloth, and she even used all the lace on the outside of the tablecloth to do the circle border, which I just love. Now, the second bag is also, that I'm going to show you, is also from Taryn that I purchased, but it does have a rude word on it. So if that offends you, I'm not going to read it out, but you may want to look away or mute if you've got children. But I could not leave this one behind because when we're frogging, yes, we all know that, don't we? And it's lined with a matching blue fabric. So Taryn does sell other bags on her Facebook thing, so I'll link that below. So they were 2 new purchases for project bags. Then, so before we went to the retreat, we ducked into the Cruel Gobelin, Emily and I. Emily's located in Sydney, so we met up in Sydney and then we drove up to the Hunter Valley where the retreat was. So we had a quick duck into the Cruel Gobelin. So if you're a Sydney sider and you haven't been there, that's the details, but beautiful, beautiful shop. So what did I pick up in the Cruel Gobelin? Well, they had because in Australia, I know in the US, these are, you can get these made for you. Now my husband does, he's an apiarist, so he's got 40 hives and does a lot of pollination sort of work, and I like to have in the summer a bee display. So this is going to be beautiful, and I've got a pair of lovely yellow matching scissors. Well, when I say matching, but matching the decor from the previous daisy chain retreat. So that is going to go up on my display area in the summertime, but it's so cute. So if you're after one of these in Australia, the Cruel Gobelin has those in stock, and she had lots to choose from in different colours and sizes. I think there was a bigger one too. Now, I'm going to pop in, I'm sorry, noisy. So I also purchased from the Cruel Gobelin, I was hoping that she may have had Aurifil, because Country Stitches Deb is doing this design, which I'll pop in here, and I promptly went out and bought the book last time. I think I even may have shown you last time, and I promptly went out and bought the book because I want to do it in exactly the same colorway that Deb's got it done. And I'll pop in another photo here. So this was on her Instagram, but I also reached out to her and got the colours of the Aurifil, but I can't find it in Australia. It's really hard to get, and it's really expensive to get in. So when I went to the Cruel Gobelin, they suggested Valdani's. So I'm going to pop up the photo here, and these are the colours that I've chosen. Oh, and I've got a light blue DMC because they didn't have a light blue Valdani. So this is what I'm going to do my version in to copy Deb, because I just love it. But they're so cute. They're just, I think a ball of these in a little wooden bowl is just too cute. And there's, I think 15, how many meters? There was a lot. I think it was worked out to be 3 skeins of thread like equivalent to 3 DMCs on these. And they're just so delightful. So I'll pop them up there to put them on display until they get used. So that was my, oh, here we go. So that's my light blue that I'm going to be using, which is what, 3753. So that's my new start that will happen now, because I actually have still got to work out some fabric, but I've got some beautiful fabric choices coming up. So that was the Cruel Gobelin. I was very restrained because I knew I had a retreat coming, and Daisy Chain had her shop, and I knew there were going to be other shops around at the retreat. So from Teresa's shop, Daisy Train, I don't know why I keep calling it Daisy Train. I will pop her shop below. So if you're Australian, and I think she also sends to New Zealand, check out this the details below. Her prices are really good. So I purchased this, and she does her own linen dyeing called Whoopsie Daisy. This is called Misty Moon, and this is a 36 count linen. And each piece of linen comes with one of those little light bulb pins and a charm. So some of the girls purchased 4 or 5 pieces, and then we realized they all had little charms on them. So cute. So I think, I don't know, I probably should have done that in Storm. Now I'm dropping it. One moment, please. Ooh. So that's one piece that could be a potential, one piece that could be a potential candidate. Now, I also got 2 Lady Dot Creates from Teresa's shop. So just rickrack. I find rickrack really hard to find in Spotlight and so forth. So when I see rickrack available at shops and that, I usually just grab it from my stash, and there's quite a large amount in here. 3 yards in that one, which is, oh no, that's from Dames of the Needle, and this one's from Lady Dot. But both packs have 3 yards. So that was my Daisy Chain purchases. And then Lisa from Paddock Lane Design was there. So I purchased that needle minder I showed you before, and also a piece of 32 count Petty Point, which I love Petty Point. I've done one Christmas stitch on it and have said to myself, I want to get some more of that. So this is quite a big piece. It did have the measurements on it, but yeah, it's folded and folded. But that was, I would have liked 36, but she only had 32 in the Petty Point. So that was the, oh, and I did, oh look, there's stuff everywhere. There was another lady there who was doing bags and floss bling, and I bought a little floss bling from her. That may turn up in my other bits and pieces that I've got here to show you. My other shopping we did was at Stitch, which is also in Sydney. Now, I'm not a Sydney sider, so I can't tell you. I think it might have been Willoughby. I'm not sure. Actually, the receipt's here, so I can tell you. Yes, Willoughby. So we went on the way home. So that was after we left the retreat on Monday. We drove to Willoughby, and Emily hadn't been before, so it was a treat for both of us. And a beautiful little shop once again. These places, you could go in there for hours, and and it's hard not to, I'll have that and I'll have that and I'll have that. But Stitch had a lot of kitted up things, which was really nice, but there was the ones that I wanted weren't kitted up, unfortunately, but it was really tempting to buy something fully kitted. But so from Stitch, I purchased, to add to my collection, the Hello from Elizabeth Matthews. So I want to do this series of the Christmas trees, and I didn't have this one, which was day 3. Yes, 3rd day. So I purchased that to add to my honey collection for decor. I also picked up the Erica Michaels Honeyberry. Sorry for the glare, but I'm not going to take that out. So I added to that, and then I also, they had some fat quarters. I don't know. But this was just a nice little bit of fabric that I picked up for finishing because those reindeers are too cute. So I think that's a fat quarter or a fat heart. I don't know. You can tell I'm not a quilter, but I like to pick up bits and pieces that are cute for finishing my little pillows and so forth. And then the next piece, so I got another bit of linen, which is a Weeks Dye Works. I don't know if this is the old Weeks or the new Weeks, but this is the grey in 32 count, which may again, oh, actually, I think I do like that better than the darker one. Sorry, cellophane. Yeah, so that was the daisy chain, and that is the Weeks. So I actually think I like the browner. Oh, yep. Hopefully that will, I didn't measure, of course. Now this doesn't have the Zweigart on it, so this is the Weeks piece. So I'm not sure if that's going to be big enough. But when I go into shops and stuff, I just pick out purely, I'm not looking at the sizing. I'm just like, yep, I like that, or I like that. I'm a real neutrals type of girl. I've discovered that I've still got some brights in my stash that I just overlook, and I think the charts that I tend to gravitate towards are always sort of more neutral. So anyway, we were at Stitch, did my purchases, and then Tess, who was behind the counter, went, oh, I know your voice. So hi Tess, it was good to see you, and it was, well, nice to meet you, and the shop is just amazing. Now, with retreats comes gifts, and I was really bad, and I didn't pre-organise or think about it myself, so it was slightly embarrassing receiving things but not having anything to give, so sorry ladies. But I had some beautiful, beautiful things from my table mates. So Linda from Linda and Leroy on Instagram, she made us all a beautiful, I've been using this, a beautiful thread bed each, and it's beautiful stitching. And this is from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is really cute. So that got some use immediately. I love a good thread bed, especially when you're at a retreat. And because I was working on a joyous day, there were lots of little bits. And then from Jess, she made a beautiful hand-stitched pillow, and it's got this lovely, luscious velveteen on the back. So being blue, it'll fit right into my winter display right behind me once I finish this video. But the stitching, oh my goodness, just gorgeous. And then the gorgeous Emily, who looked after me all weekend, chauffeuring me around and so forth, had, oh, what's that? Oh, that's got to show you that too. got these gorgeous bags from the Cruel Gobelin. They're handmade, quilted. I don't know if you can see the quilt. Oh yes, you can see the quilting. Just gorgeous. So I loved those. So thank you, ladies. I was very spoiled. Now, then we had the fun of the Smalls Exchange. Always makes me so nervous, the Smalls Exchange, because you just want someone to like what you've done. So I was lucky enough to pick up Libby from And This Little Pig. I'll pop her Instagram below, but she has gorgeous stitching. And funnily enough, I had hers last year. So this was this is from the same stitcher. So this was a piece, and yes, Libby, it does have 2 little pigs on it. You said to me, did it have pigs? And I said I wasn't sure. But yes, now that you've pointed that out, it does have 2 little pigs. So this was the piece that she'd stitched for the Smalls Exchange. Isn't it just gorgeous? So this will be beautiful for my autumn colours, and it's got a lovely print on the back. But not only did she stitch something, she also quilted something. This is Daisy project bag. So it's a piece, I think that's what you call it, piecing for quilting, and a lovely matching fabric inside. So I've come away from the retreat with 4 brand new project bags. So does that mean 4 new projects? Maybe? So that is just gorgeous. I do love that. Thank you so much, Libby. I wonder if I can get a hat trick next year. Oh, actually there's something in the bag. Oh, some little floss tags. So I'll just punch a hole in those, and they're sort of a vintage. I didn't even realise they were there. So thank you, Libby. But go check out her Instagram. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. And a few goats and farm animals. One last gift was from Emily. It wasn't an intended gift. But Emily was stitching on, what are these called? I can't remember, because I will need to get the pattern, or need to get the name. So Emily had started, I think you'll know, and there's 12 of them. So Emily had started stitching on this, and she wasn't happy with the fabric. It's a 30 count weeks. And Emily now works predominantly on 40. So she was just finding that it was too holey and too big, and she was going to start again. And this was going to make it to the bin. But I'm like, no, I'll finish the second, won't finish the third one, but I'll finish off the brickwork in that one and complete the border and do something with those 2 pieces. But not only did she let me take on the stitching she'd done, she also passed on this huge bit of weeks fabric as well, which is, what's it called, parchment. So I will definitely get some, do I do that on that? Maybe it's a bit too yellow for that one. But yeah, another bit of fabric to add to the stash. So thank you, Emily. But I just couldn't bear to the thought of these making the garbage. It's too much work, and they're really cute too. So that was all my shopping, stash enhancements, and some beautiful gifts. But no, wait, there's more. The swag bag. Everyone loves a good swag bag, and Teresa, you knock it out of the park each and every time. So we got our swag bags, beautiful canvas tote that we can reuse for all sorts of things with the year 2023 on it. Travel mug, which is in the dishwasher, and I couldn't open the dishwasher to get that out, but beautiful thermal travel mug, which everybody was loving, just amazing. So Teresa, just those 2 items are so useful. So Mojo Stitches was at the retreat. She was at the retreat last time too, and had done our retreat piece. So this is the retreat piece, and it's an ort tray. and she had them both, Teresa and Joanne had the model there. Just gorgeous. But it had some free stitching embroidery on it. So Joanna did a little tutorial at each table on lazy daisy stitches. I've never done a lazy daisy in my life, so it was a little bit like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Now don't laugh, no laughing. This was my very first lazy daisy. Now Joanna said it was lovely, but she was just being nice. It's very, I was just trying different lengths and so forth, but I am going to do this piece, and because it was fully kitted. So we got the linen, whoops, the pattern, of course, which I won't show you that, the needle, all the flosses, and then also the calico to do the lazy daisies on. So that will definitely be a new start, and that's going straight into my new daisy project bag by Libby. But just beautiful. The picture doesn't do it justice, because and there's no machine stitching at all in the configuration, in the assemblement of the tray. It's just a little bit of hand stitching, and that was it, and a bit of ironing to get those edges crisp. So 3 amazing things as a, and then a whole baggie, well, I've put mine in a baggie of like the bag, lots of accoutrement and things. So I'll quickly run through that for you, just so you can see that. There was a daisy notepad, which I've been using my one from last year. Then we had these, I think, Teresa, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a little pack of wooden, I thought at first they were bobbins, but they actually say handmade for you. So whether or not you put that on a quilt or you turned it into a bobbin, I guess you could. But I think they would make a nice backing on if you had a bigger handmade item. Excuse all the, because I haven't actually taken these out of their little packages. So there was a quick unpick, but it had a multiple of different heads that you could put on it in a lovely daisy colour. Then we had a magnetic needle case with a magnet inside. Oh, hang on. With a magnet inside, so that will be very handy. And of course, cute little daisies. Do you see a theme here? Now, I'm not really sure what, I'm not really sure what this is, but I actually love it just for the style of it. And it's like a little ruler, but a little bird. It'll just make a lovely sort of piece to add to the table behind. Lovely pair. How many times have I said lovely already? Beautiful pair of scissors. Very detailed. To add to my scissor collection. Now, I believe this is for when you use Whisper. I've used Whisper before, but just used a toothbrush, and it's just like a mascara. Or is it for when you're frogging to get all the little fluffs off? Not sure, but you could, or you could use it for both, I guess. A pack of daisy floss cards that just need their holes in them. I've used mine from last year. Some bling, thread bling. I love these now, the thread blings. A pen, a daisy pen. It's actually different from last year. It is, isn't it? Oh, this says Whoops-a-Daisy Designs. So that's different to the pen we got last year. This gorgeous little measuring tape, which will go into my bag, because how many times when you go out looking for frames, more so, that because I like to thrift my frames, this will be really handy to have, to be able to measure when you're out and about. And the last thing in there I'm not really sure what these are, but they're like tags, but they're like tickets. So I don't know if you punch holes in them and use them as floss drops, but they're ever so cute. Or do I just open them now? No, I can't. They're sort of very sealed tightly. So I went with one suitcase and came back with a bulging suitcase. I was lucky to get it all in because I also took my Lowry stand and my lamp so I could stitch comfortably. So my bag was rather heavy coming back, but no problems getting it on. That was fine. It was just trying to shove it all in. So what a big weekend. So not only did we have the retreat, but we also went and had some beautiful wines and some beautiful cheese and other delightful foods that became a bit of a favourite within our group. And the girls that I had, my table mates. So as I've mentioned, we had Jess, Jess, Emily, Linda and Michelle, who came all the way from New Zealand to come to the daisy chain. So it was great having a lovely table full of girls, and we had lots of people come and say hello, and we went and said hello to other people and seeing some old faces and some new ones. So it was great. I love retreats, just love them. It's, I don't know, you come home and you're all inspired and you want to stitch on everything. It's just, yeah, it's magic. I can't wait till next year. So, but I just wanted to say a big thank you for the people that have come back and visited my channel. I know there's a lot of YouTube's videos out there at the moment, so much to choose from. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for checking my video out. And if you're one of my new subscribers, thank you. I hope you do like what you see and subscribe and stay. Now, I do have a Flosstube extra coming up as soon as the Cottage Garden Threads Hearts for Pam comes out. There's been a little bit of a delay. One of the daughter, I can't remember her name, has broken her wrist. So there's been a bit of a delay with getting all the flosses ready. So as soon as that comes out, I will do an unboxing to show you all the beautiful threads that are included in that, along with the 10 charts. I think if you wanted to, you could purchase the charts separately when the order was open, and you could also just purchase the threads. I did the whole lot. I was hoping to be able to do one of those for my small for the retreat, but that didn't happen, so that doesn't matter, maybe next year, because I'm really looking forward to stitching with some of the Cottage Garden threads. I've got some in my stash, but just a little bit unsure. And I don't know whether it's because some I don't have a chart that calls for them yet. So I'm really looking forward to having a chart that just calls for all Cottage Garden. So I will do a unboxing as soon as that comes in. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks there might be some news of when that is coming out. But otherwise, I will see you next month in September. Is there anything big? Can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm going to Melbourne to go see Moulin Rouge in September. But I don't think there's any stitching shops in Melbourne City to go visit, unfortunately. But if you know of any in the Melbourne City or that are easy to get to by tram or train, do drop me a comment below, because I would love to go and drag the husband to a stitchy shop. He would be most impressed with that, but he would do it anyway. I know he would. All right, guys, until next month, stay safe and I will see you soon. Bye.